No, baby, that's for somebody else. We're just gonna keep you right where you're at right now.
It doesn't matter what you think.
The Wrestling Realm presents Break It Down with Brian H. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this edition of Break It Down with Brian H. I am your host, Brian H. Waters. As you can see right there on your screen, make sure you are following me at simply Brian H. Waters. You should be doing that by now. But in case you haven't, and gotta let you know where else you can follow us. Follow the Wrestling Realm at Wrestling Realm. And then click below right now. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Do that. Also, Instagram. We are about 5 followers away from reaching that pinnacle mark of 1,000 followers. So I would definitely appreciate if you would go ahead and hit the follow button. Let us know. Engage with us on there. So make sure you do that. And of course, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, you name it, we are there. Stitcher. Yeah, we still on Stitcher. But guess what? We're also on iHeartRadio and we're on Pandora. So that's where you got to know. That's where you have to do. Make sure you follow us. So now that we got all of those particulars out the way, folks, it is time to get into 25 years of the game. Triple H celebrating his 25th anniversary. So, yeah, I got my phone buzzing. I know tonight is the NFL draft. So, for those out there who decided, hey, I'm going to tune in to Break It Down with Brian H. right now because I'd rather watch that than the NFL draft, thank you very much. I'm a football fan, but wrestling will always come first. It will always be wrestling. Now, it's one thing if somebody give me tickets to a game or it's a big game, but nonetheless, I'm always going to choose wrestling. So, Triple H, 25 years. We just saw on SmackDown. They had a really interesting, creative, DX-ish celebration. Shout out to the real Dwayne Allen. Let me move the microphone so you can see the shirt. I wore this at BlurCon. People said, oh, man, you got DX. Oh, wait, that's the Wrestling Realm. So shout out to the real Dwayne Allen for this design, as always. You see all of our T-shirts. I mean, you look at the poster. He did that. You look at the clock. He did that. So that's the cool stuff. And you go on Instagram, you get a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that goes on. You can check it out. But so we saw Shawn Michaels come out there, and I loved it. He said, yeah, all your friends and family, all your closest friends are here, and there's nobody. And it just makes, when you look at Triple H's career and you think about him, there's a lot of people who really just didn't like him. I will be one to admit, there was a time and period where I could not stand Triple H. So I'll be real with you. A few wrestlers I don't like at all. One jumps out the mind is Batista. Yeah, I got his Funko Pop because that's what I do. I collect the Funko Pops. But his was kind of a thought. Maybe I'm not going to get it. But he's one of the wrestlers I just don't like. When he's on TV, I don't have to watch unless he's getting beat up. Now, sometimes he's involved in some interesting stories, but nonetheless. Triple H, 99. Man, couldn't stand him. Couldn't stand him at all. I didn't like when he broke The Rock's arm. And then, he would go and win the WWE Championship. And, of course, I rooted against him all the time. This one, it was fun when wrestling. That part was fun where you're innocent, so you don't know it's predetermined. So you're just rooting real heavy. But nonetheless, yeah, I just couldn't stand him. And I think when things really started to tolerate him, obviously. When him and Steph was together, I really liked that run. But, he would get hurt, come back. Madison Square Garden 2002. Make the announcement that he was coming back and was going to enter the Royal Rumble. One of the biggest pops he's ever received in his life. But that was really cool. But I do think back to, some Triple H moments Obviously, that night, because he wrestled with a quad injury, and you got to respect that. But you go back to his first championship win. When he first won the title, he won it on Monday Night Raw, and I was watching the bump the other day, and it was talking about Money in the Bank cash in. And if you remember, in 2013, Dolph Ziggler cashed in the night after WrestleMania, and I remember watching WrestleMania 29, and Del Rio had retained the title, and everybody was calling for Ziggler. He was upset he didn't win, and he kind of used that same line Triple H used, like, hey, well, the next night more people saw it. But you think about, what if Triple H, he should have won the title at SummerSlam 1999. Unfortunately, he didn't. But you look at him and you think back to that moment, him finally getting it done. Yeah, he was a baby face, but you saw the real emotion. I mean, he's a heel, but you saw the real emotion right there. So there's that. You also have, when you think about, let's move up though. You look at Triple H was deeply ingrained into the Attitude Era. Let's also talk about and think about Triple H during that, that era where the PG era, and he was kind of that guy that you could insert here at any given time. He's wrestling the Jeff Hardys, the Randy Ortons, the Edges, the John Cena's. You could put him in there. So that's the thing that I always respected and appreciated about him, regardless of how you may feel, regardless of politics, stuff we may think we know, stuff we do not know, and all that other stuff. You may be like, man, you get tired of him. 14 times he was your WWE champion, or to say world champion, because you got to include both of them. But nonetheless, what a career for him. And, he's not done hanging up the boots. Triple H can go in there at any given time and put him back on and become the WWE champion. He's just that guy that if the WWE is in a situation, he can step up to the plate and become the champion. And that's where you look at a guy like Vince McMahon and you have to say, like, dang, Vince, you're blessed, because you do have somebody that can be a champion at any given time. So, I would love to see a Triple H and Drew McIntyre match. There's a lot of guys on the roster that I would love to see him work. I would love to see him work with a AJ Styles, a Adam Cole, a Tommaso Ciampa, even a Johnny Gargano. So, but then you got to look at, and this would be enough of the Triple H talk, the work he's doing with NXT. Look how far the brand has come, and you see what he's doing, and you see how excellent things have been. So, shout out to him for that, man, because it's not easy at all. Anybody can't just step in there and do what the game does. So, but let's move on. Let's talk some wrestling. Let's start with the WWE champion, Drew McIntyre. McIntyre has been having Zelina Vega at his heels, a thorn in his side, as he described her. And the one thing I said about this, right? I said this on Twitter at Wrestling Wrealm. You think back to Hulk Hogan. The biggest thorn in his side was Bobby the Brain Heenan. I mean, you think about with King Kong Bundy and Andre the Giant. Then you look at, and we're talking managers. You look at The Undertaker. There was Paul Heyman. Heyman couldn't get CM Punk to do it, but he got Brock Lesnar to defeat the streak. And while he might not be his biggest adversary as a manager, you could probably even say it was Paul Bearer. But the thing is, Heyman And you know that you have these manager foes, and that's what I would like to see with a Zelina Vega and a Drew McIntyre. Zelina Vega, I think Andrade's coming. He's not right there yet on Drew McIntyre's side, but he's coming, folks. And that's going to be interesting. We've already seen it happen once in NXT. So why can't it happen again, right? Why can't Andrade defeat Drew McIntyre? Maybe not for the WWE Championship yet, but I should say this. Why can't Zelina Vega lead Andrade past Drew McIntyre? So that's going to be interesting to see how this dynamic continues. You know, she has a stable, you know. So, but yeah, let's move on. Darby Allin, you know, we got the TNT Championship going on, the TNT Championship tournament going on right now in All Elite Wrestling. Darby Allin defeated Sammy Guevara. I think this is going to be one of those feuds. What I see is a Rock Foley-like thing. I said this with Bianca Belair and Nikki Cross. Unfortunately, we're away from that. Maybe we will come back to it. But this is right here. You're going to have these two young guys in AEW, and I think you can create stories for years to come. Keep an eye on this one. But then we also had Dustin Rhodes taking on Kip Sabian. And this match was billed that if Dustin Rhodes lost this match, this would be over. His career would be over. Fortunately for him and his fans, though, he was victorious. So shout out to Dustin Rhodes getting it done. Shout out to his sister-in-law, Brandy Rhodes, getting in the ring, stopping Penelope Ford with a spear. So I think it's a foregone conclusion, though. Lance Archer, Cody for the championship. That's the way I'm looking at it. If you look at the next round, you look at the way the bracket's shaping up, it's Cody versus Darby Allin, and it's Lance Archer versus Dustin Rhodes. Quite frankly, as much as I would love to see the rematch for the championship between Cody and Dustin, they're not going to be able to duplicate that story. Sure, the match would be good, but the reason why that match was the match of the year last year, in my opinion, is simply because of the story that was being told. I don't think they'll be able to duplicate that. I could be wrong, but I honestly think it's a foregone conclusion. Cody versus Darby Allin. So, you know what? I'm going to say this before I get away. Triple H and The Rock, they had a special moment. While Triple H was on the bump, The Rock made a surprise, sent him a video, and just, you know, gave him praises. And my brother Corey said, it's one of those examples of giving somebody their flowers while they're still here. You look at those two. You look at these two guys. Their careers were like this. You know, behind me I have a few championship belts. I got the Intercontinental Championship, both of them, and then the WWF Championship. They fought over both of these, and then they fought over the Big Eagle. My point is, you know, you saw the progress in their career. That's what was so exciting to watch. That's why I want one more match. So I'm going to go ahead right now and say this. Rock, Triple H, can we get one more match at a WrestleMania? We got your matches at Backlash, but we never got a Rock versus Triple H match, one-on-one, mano-a-mano at a WrestleMania. Can we please get that, gentlemen? So I'm going to take a break. I had the honor of speaking with Snoop Strikes, also known as Cotto Brazil. So I wanted to give you a preview. That interview drops tomorrow at noon. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. The interview will be right there at noon. Ladies and gentlemen, here's a preview of my interview with Snoop.
Some of my favorite moments, the War Games match. That was crazy.
Woo!
Yeah,
that was. I remember that.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite moments. Injustice, like right now, my favorite moments are right now with Injustice. Like the stuff we're doing right now, I feel like nobody else is doing. Like it's different from everyone else in the game right now, and it's real. Like what we saying, that's what we mean. Like like we're not playing around. Like that's what we mean.
And I'm back, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you check out my interview with Snoop. Let me turn the microphone down. Make sure you check out that interview. We talked about a lot, man. We talked about his career, and his run, and his I should say his rivalry. We talked about rivals with Rocky Triple H. Talked about his rivalry with Troy Hollywood. Then we also got into some MLW talk. You may know about the group Injustice. If you don't, check it out. Him, Myron Reed, Jordan Oliver. I promise you will be entertained. So let's move on to the ladies. Monday Night Raw was good. I know y'all probably mad I ain't put no pictures in this week's episode, especially all the matches that had the ladies. Women's wrestling showed out this week. Shout out to those wrestling girls. And shout out to Britt Waters, Candice Cordelia. Man, I gotta always give an homage. Oh, Janelle from Job and Tears podcast. Gotta always give homage to my fellow women, my fellow wrestling journalists who are the ladies, because they love wrestling just as much as I do. So we saw this past Monday, Shayna Baszler continues to run wild this week. Her victim was India Hartwell. India Hartwell, somebody who was recently signed with the WWE, and Shayna broke her arm. So here we go with this again. I want to see what happens. She was dominant in the Elimination Chamber, proved that nobody else belonged in the ring with her. She lost to Becky Lynch, but Becky barely squeezed by. Right now, she has to be the favorite going into Money in the Bank. Fortunately for the other ladies is, if they could team up and get away from her, somebody could climb the ladder. So, but if she gets there, if she gets to them, she can break their arms. So, I'm interested to see what happens, but they gotta get her under control, because won't be much left for the women's division, unfortunately. But yeah, moving on. Charlotte Flair, she took on Kaden Carter. And I will say this: Charlotte defeated Kaden Carter. You had India Hartwell. You also had Bianca Belair getting a win over. Actually, I'll stay right there first before I get into Charlotte. But we had Bianca Belair getting a win over Santana Garrett. You have all these ladies on the roster down there in Florida. So one thing about the quarantine and with the stuff going on with COVID-19 is it's given a lot of the ladies and some of the gentlemen too earlier times to get to television. On SmackDown, we saw the Forgotten Sons. They're getting that prime time exposure. Yes, NXT is on USA, but they're still building that audience. These ladies are getting in front of millions of people instead of 900,000s. They're getting in front of millions of people on Monday Night Raw, millions of people on Friday Night SmackDown. So I think this is really good. I'm really happy to see this for the wrestlers down there. But we saw Bianca Belair getting it done. I really like this, kind of building her up. I want to see what kind of feud she gets thrown into. I'm glad. I don't think she's not in the Money in the Bank match. I'm glad they didn't push her there yet. Let's relax. So, Charlotte Flair, like I said, she got the win over Kaden Carter. And now she is moving on to face she's going to face Mia Yim next week. That's a match I'm looking forward to. Kind of wish the title was on the line. It's not, I guess, because Io Shirai is the number one contender, so it does make sense. But this is going to be interesting. So you saw the little love fest they had there, the honor. Quite frankly, I want to see Mia Yim boss up and take her out. You know, we know Mia Yim basically said, like, look, you know, it's an honor to be in there, but guess what? That's cool and all. Here's the thing. It's different day and age now. So I really want to see like Mia Yim take it to her. She's the HBIC. I want to see her act like one when she gets in the ring with Charlotte Flair. Let's move on. Staying with the ladies, obviously, that's the whole second segment is going to be about. I ain't going to lie to you. Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross retaining the tag titles, defeating Carmella and Dana Brooke. It was a good match. Shout out to Dana Brooke. She's starting to come around, starting to see her get better. Some people may think so, some people may not, but you are starting to see her get a little better, so I'm happy to see that. I want to know, where does she go from here? She is in the Money in the Bank ladder match. I don't see her winning, but that would be a shock. If you look at everybody listed, well, we do have Mandy Rose and Carmella taking on each other. I think it's a foregone conclusion. Carmella wins that one. I'll make my prediction right now. Carmella's going to win because Sonya Deville's going to interfere, and we'll get a one-on-one match between those two ladies at Money in the Bank. Nia Jax beat up Kairi Sane again. So I was like, ooh, that was interesting. Nia Jax, another one. I know some people may say it's kind of really hard to imagine her getting up that ladder, but boy, if she do, she could be dangerous. Let's not forget, 2 years ago, she lost her title at Money in the Bank because Alexa Bliss won and cashed in on her. She could be doing revenge. Now, I don't see, obviously, she's not going to do it with tag titles, but you never know. Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott. Keep this thing going. I love it. Keep this thing going. Liv Morgan getting a win, but I was just, like I said, I was just so happy to see quite a heavy load of women's wrestling matches this past week on Monday Night Raw. So, and then last but certainly not least, definitely the main event part of this segment, Bayley, Sasha Banks. Woo! So Sasha Banks took on Lacey Evans, and Lacey Evans was victorious because Bayley, kind of got involved. She helped Sasha, but then she had the ref distracted way too long, which when Sasha had Lacey put away, couldn't get it done. Then Sasha would, fuss at her about it, and then boom, walk right into a woman's right. So this is obviously, there's going to be trouble in paradise. We saw Tamina come out there and knock out Bayley, and Sasha didn't do a darn thing. So I'm going to be paying attention. Matter of fact, as we're live right here on Break It Down with Brian H., make sure if you haven't done so, click the subscribe button while I go ahead and search to see if Bayley has said anything. Because, her and Sasha tend to do that. They use their Twitter fingers. Bayley will probably tell you everything is fine. But no, I don't see anything from Bayley. Now, let's see if we see anything from Sasha. That's the beauty of social media, man. You got this quick access. Back in the day, you had to wait for somebody to send something. But yeah, it's nothing on their Twitters. I'm not going to go on Instagram right now. So I'm going to go ahead and take a break. Speaking of ladies, on my other podcast, Breaking Through the Glass Ceilings, this week, so last week you should have tuned in. You would have heard my good friend Jordan Curl. You would have heard her talk about being an esports reporter in the gaming industry. This week, I bring on the brand manager for DTLR, my good friend Brittany Lay, also known as the Hip Hop Cleopatra. So here's a quick snippet of that interview.
For me, I felt like the whole time didn't even realize that when I thought I was taking a break for something, God was putting me in a position to further myself and further prepare me for what I was supposed to have the entire time. And it's not that I gave up or took a break. It's just that my journey was a little bit different. And to me, that is, to actually see it in my lifetime is a highlight, because I can tell you I didn't think I would actually see any of the seeds that I planted coming to fruition. And then I'm just seeing seeds pop up all over the place. And the whole time I didn't know that I touched a person like that they thought about me later in life, or even with you, everything that you and I ever did together at work was genuinely because I wanted to do great work with you, not because I thought that later on you would ask me to be a part of your show.
Did it again. My bad. So I left the microphone off. But around the net, you may have seen, brought to you by B Wars Productions, you may have seen recently, I produced a virtual concert. Yeah, I got a chance to do my Uncle Troy's group, Deontay and New Direction. They had a virtual concert. I produced it, brought to you by B Waters Productions. And that's who's sponsoring this segment called Around the Net. Boy, did things get interesting this week, and I'm here to talk about it. The Velveteen Dream. Just gonna let that sit there. The Velveteen Dream. This past, or I should say about earlier today, he was exposed, maybe or maybe not. So there's a video, an image going around with the Velveteen Dream sharing his body, an inappropriate image of himself with a minor. Now, nobody knows if this is true. Nobody knows if it's his or not. No. The Instagram clearly has his verified account, his verified handle. You have Velveteen Dream fans jump into his defense saying they can do this, and they're even going so far as to say the transparency of the verified check mark isn't accurate. So we sit here, we wait. Who knows what's going to happen? There's also audio out there. If him leaving a voice message, sending a voice message. So if you see that, you'll be able to hear what I'm talking about. I know some stuff has been pulled down. Of course, he's good at messaging, so he let people know he was hacked. That's what people do, right? They always use the H word, hacked. So he was hacked. So if this is true, I do not at all see him rebounding from this. I would say that his career with the WWE is over, considering that the person is a minor and you can see them clearly state their age. Now, it could be somebody out there trying to get him. You never know. So you obviously you gotta go through ways to prove it. You gotta prove that it's a child's account. You gotta prove that it's the actual child it belongs to, not somebody created the account. I just think this stuff is unfortunate. You never know. There's wrestlers out there being sloppy all the time, and that's the bad part. Chill out. You're have the potential to make millions. Granted, if you play your cards right, chill out. Also around in that, word on the street is that Vince McMahon, quite frankly, believes that if Brock Lesnar was champion, the ratings would be better. Yes, those rumors are out there. Quite frankly, Vince McMahon felt and bumped his head. He closed out SmackDown. First, he said to Triple H and Shawn Michaels that he loved him. Then he went into this whole thing. Started bringing up Triple H's mishaps. He even brought up Katie Vick. The worst thing. Was it May 19th? I think. And, unfortunately, that's also the same day that Owen Hart died, I believe. But, yeah, he brought that up. And I'm like, no. But, yeah, he actually believes that. And if that's the case, he done fell and bumped his head. If Brock Lesnar was champion, he would not be on Raw during this time because it's a quarantine. And it's social distancing. And Brock already social distances. So he's not coming to Raw for this. So, yeah, they wouldn't. No. So, man, I tell you the truth. Also, you have Drew McIntyre out there. I mean, Big Show out there saying he's been a fan of McIntyre for a long time. Therefore, he had no problem putting him over. So I thought that was good. Congratulations to him on that. You may have also seen Carmella. She's entertaining. She went out there. She did a video of her impersonating the entire women's division. Make sure you check that out. Also, you know what? I was thinking about this. If this was, say, 20 years ago, right? The coronavirus happened and we were all in school. 20 years ago, that would have made me 13. This wouldn't have been as bad. This wouldn't have been bad if you're a wrestling fan. Sure, we're getting empty arena shows, right? But what you do see is you see a lot of wrestling content. Fox Sports 1 is doing a best of WrestleMania. Now you can go on. Now, see me, I was a VHS guy. I was somebody who had to record everything. I spent lots of money in Walmart and Blockbuster recording wrestling, whether it was pay-per-views, whether it was Raw, SmackDown, Shotgun Saturday Night, Velocity, Sunday Night Heat, whatever wrestling I could get my hands on, or I should say my VCR on, I was recording it so I could watch it over and over and over again. Well, I wouldn't have had to do this considering the way, let's just say there's no WWE Network. Well, if there's no WWE Network, I still wouldn't have to do it because you got all this content. And I think this is so cool that the WWE is able to do this and that Fox Sports 1 is buying all of this WWE time. So I don't know. Maybe that was in the contract. It would make sense if it was, but you getting the best of WrestleMania come up. You got WWE backstage, and I think after a while, because I ain't gonna lie, folks. Obviously I used to go 2 nights a week, and ordinarily I would have came on Wednesday. Primarily, you'll find the show more on a Wednesday than a Friday. Friday depends, but ain't nothing to do. But the thing is, on a Wednesday, this past Wednesday, I just didn't feel like it. I was worried. I was getting the concert over and all that other stuff. And by that time, I just wanted to relax and play MLB The Show. B Waters 24 if you're on the show. But it is kind of getting hard to figure out things to talk about. You get tired of saying the same stuff. Shayna Baszler, all this other stuff. But this week was good because we're celebrating 25 years of Triple H. That's a long time. 25 years of a wrestler who still hasn't hung it up, doesn't even look like he needs to hang it up. You go out there, you watch a Triple H match, it's still gonna be the same, and you can still somewhat be you can still be entertained depending on who his opponent is. But now don't give us another Triple H Seth Rollins match or Triple H Batista match or Triple H Roman Reigns match. We're talking about WrestleMania matches. But given the correct story, you could still be entertained by a Triple H match. It's other than that, okay, next week, it's just different with the fans not being there. You do have some of the storylines advancing. Now, I will say this is the best part. There was a time when this all started that you remember I was complaining about them showing full matches because they was just, and now I realize, you know what? Maybe because they was trying to figure out how long is this going to last? What was the game plan? Okay, from the talent pool, which ones can we use? Now, despite all those releases we saw last week, they still have a plethora of talent to pull from. So being able to see that, I was like, all right, you know what? This isn't bad. So I was really happy to see that we had about 4 or 5 women's matches or the women involved this week on Monday Night Raw. Having the women involved on SmackDown. So I'm excited. Let's see where we go from here. But I'm going to get ready to wrap this thing up, folks. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Follow us on Instagram. I just saw we got another follower. Shout out to Die Sporting Net. I said I'll give a shout out. Just started following the Instagram page. Thought he should have been following us talk to him every day. So we're 4 followers away from 1,000. So make sure you follow us, holler at us on there, interact with us. I'll post some clips from the show. You got some images. You may see that's the real Dwayne Allen right there. That was the image when we were on the Flex Zone getting ready for WrestleMania 32. This is actually an image right here. I'm showing you right there on your screen if you're watching on YouTube. But I'm showing you right there, not putting it on screen because I want you to go on Instagram and hit the follow button. So make sure you do that. And as a matter of fact, let me flash this graphic because that's what I got to do on this screen. That's why I took time to put it out there and I don't see. Oh, there it is. Social CTA. Boom. So make sure all the stuff on the screen right there. See that? Right there. Follow us. Wrestling Wrealm. Facebook. Twitter. Instagram. Subscribe. YouTube. Apple. Spotify. iHeart. Anchor. And Google Podcasts. That's where you can find the Wrestling Wrealm, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, stay home. Be safe. Make sure you are caring for everybody. Yes, practice social distancing, but do your family and friends a favor. Check on them. Simply, they got a bunch of apps for that. Until the next time, I'm your host, Brian H. Waters. Make sure you follow us. Make sure you let me know. And yes, I am stalling because I am trying to find the out to this show. And I could do that with y'all. There it is. So, I'm going to say this one last time. Thank you for joining me on this night where, yes, there's an NFL draft taking place. Thank you for taking the time out to be a part of the show. Make sure you follow me. Tell your friends about the Wrestling Wrealm. And do not forget, tomorrow at noon, the interview with Koto Brazil, also known, I should have said it the wrong way, the interview of Snoop Strikes, also known as Koto Brazil. Shout out to Amber Rodriguez for that connection. We'll be on. Check it out. I promise you, you will not want to miss it. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Break It Down with Brian H. Hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell so you get notified every time the Wrestling Wrealm posts new content.